So when we look at surveys asking people what they want to change in their life, fitness goals usually rank on top. Whether that's to exercise more, lose weight, or eat healthier, the sad reality is that the majority of people who set those goals never actually reach them. They might be on track for a few weeks, maybe even a few months, but old bad habits take over and they end up nowhere. And that's why in this video, I want to share with you 3 tips that are going to help you to finally see results and get that breakthrough so you don't end up being one of those defeating statistics, so you can be among the minority that's able to set their goals and reach their goals. So let's get started. The first tip that I have for you is especially important when you're creating your diet. What I'd like you to do is apply something called Gall's Law. Gall's Law states that all complex systems that work have evolved from simpler systems that work. In other words, you don't want to fall for the trap where you're trying to create a very complex diet from scratch. And unfortunately, I do see a lot of people falling for that trap. They buy 10 different cookbooks with 150 different recipes. Every day it's 2 hours in the kitchen, experimenting, trying to create this fancy food and these meals that look really nice on Instagram. And then they end up getting overwhelmed. They end up struggling with consistency and they start falling off track because it's just too complicated to stick with. Instead, what you should do is create what I call a minimum viable meal plan. So you pick 3-4 healthy foods for each of your macronutrients and you just create a plan from that. For example, let's say you got a 2,000 calories per day to be in a calorie deficit and you want to get 160 grams of protein per day and you struggle with getting that amount of protein. Well, 160 grams of protein per day is 2 whole eggs, 400 grams of cottage cheese, 250 grams of grilled chicken breast, and 2 scoops of whey protein. It's as simple as that. You don't need to make it any more complicated. It doesn't have to look pretty on Instagram. You run with this for a while, you master consistency, you gain some momentum, you're tracking it in MyFitnessPal, you're comfortable with that, and then you make it more complex over time. The same would apply to your training, the same applies to your sleeping habits, to your walking habits. Start with a foundation that works and then just iterate from there. Now, the second tip that I have for you is to make sure you prepare yourself for the inevitable dip. The typical fitness story goes like this. You have Joe who starts a new program, whether it's lose fat or build muscle. Joe is very excited. Everything is new. He's learning a ton. Motivation is high because he's seeing lots of gains on the scale due to water weight dropping, lots of strength progression as well due to a lot of new exercises. In general, everything is going perfectly fine. But then, in a couple of months, Joe hits what Seth Godin calls the dip. It's that point where you no longer have that early motivation, the honeymoon phase is over, and now things got a lot more difficult. And because of the lack of motivation, everything feels like a chore. You have to expend so much more energy to get yourself to do even the basic things, and the progress is not as fast as it was before. You're barely progressing. You're not sure if you should change something. You're not sure if it's supposed to be like that. You're wondering what's going on. Why is it so difficult? And it's in between where it becomes a habit and after you finish the honeymoon phase. So you're in the middle there where you have to expend tons of discipline, organizing yourself, investing lots of energy into this to just stay in the game. And this is the great filter. This is where a majority of people quit and give up and fail. And if you can push through this, you will ultimately get to that level where it does become easier. But unfortunately, majority of people never really push through. They don't understand that dip is a part of the journey and not just the journey to getting a great physique. This happens if you want to get some career success, some other life goals, wherever you want to go, if it's worth getting to, is going to have a dip and you're going to have to push through. So when you're starting your journey, remember, there is a dip coming. It's inevitable. You want to make sure you mentally prepare for it, that you're okay with changing your program if you have to, that you're hitting the like button below to get ready for it, that you're also committed to consistency and learning no matter what, that you will adapt, you will push through, you will do whatever it takes to get stronger, to get better, to get through the dip on the other side. And there is that light in the end of the tunnel if you keep going, if you keep learning. And that is really that process of creating a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. Now, my tip number 3 is to go at your own optimal pace. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 week of dieting, and they underestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year of consistent training and eating right. I see the same guys year after year, going hardcore, 1700 calories, keto, intermittent fasting, 6-7 training sessions per week, going hard on cardio, and what ends up happening is 3 to 4 weeks later, they fall off track because their approach is completely unsustainable, but they think it's a willpower issue. And then after a few weeks, they regain a little bit of more motivation, they get back into it. Now they feel like they fell behind. Now they go even harder. And what they're trying to do is replicate something they saw on social media, or some guy told them that it can go at that rate, and instead of looking at what they can actually sustain. And of course, when they go even harder, that leads to even more slip-ups, even more inconsistency. Eventually they burn out and they fall off track and don't see them for another 6 months or a year. And instead of doing this, instead of falling into this cycle, you want to go at your own pace. Give yourself permission to take the time required to reach your goals. If you have 30 pounds to lose, give yourself 30 weeks to do that. Give yourself 35 weeks. I know it sounds like a lot, especially when you compare to social media where everybody seems to be dropping 5, 6, 7 pounds of fat in a week, but that doesn't matter. You matter in your own journey. Look at your own track record of success. If you've been failing, now is the time to give yourself a chance to succeed, instead of trying to get this done in 2 months just to end up failing every single time. 5 years from now, when you have your ideal lifestyle, will it even matter that it took you an extra couple of months to get there? And look, sometimes the disciplined thing to do is to pace yourself. It is to take the more patient approach. And I know a lot of people that go hardcore for 3 weeks because it gives them a perfect excuse for why they failed. Oh, I gave it my best and this is not for me. Let's get that excuse off the table. Let's do it the right way, meal by meal, workout by workout, day by day, week by week, month by month, focusing on consistency, focusing on sustainability, and improvement over time. And what's going to help with all those 3 things is hitting that subscribe button below, name notifications by hitting the bell icon, details for coaching if you want to work with me on the description below. Also going to leave another video here for you again that's going to help you a ton on your journey. Check out that video, and I'm going to see you right there.